Hey guys, this is Little D, and today I will be making a three-part video. About just explaining how my auditions went and my experience, some tips and my thoughts about the auditions. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this first part is going to be about my experience at SM. Well, SM auditions. Okay, so where should I start? I guess I should start with the auditions. Okay, so for me, I went to Washington D.C. on April 19th for the SM auditions, and my appoint time was 2 p.m. So I decided to go at 9 because I wanted to be there early. So, because I heard from other previous audition experiences on YouTube that there will be like this massive long line and this just waiting and waiting just to get inside, and if you don't come early enough you could miss your appointment time. And so I was like, whoa, I did not want that to happen to me. So I went early. I went at 9 or about 9 or 10, to be able to sign in and get checked in for all that stuff. So when I went, the auditions didn't even start. It didn't even there was no setting out. There was nothing. There were no posters to tell you that the audition was going to be there. Nothing. It was absolutely nothing. And so when we went in, I had to ask a guy if the audition was still going to be here, and he was like, yeah. And so I went in, and there was nothing but an empty table. And I was like, okay, I knew the audition was going to be in here because there was an empty table. And there happened to be another, there was a family of a girl who later auditioned with me in a group, or she was in a group after me, and she was there at 9 as well. And it hadn't started. And so I was like, oh, well, okay, then I guess I'll come back. And then I came back at 11, and it still hadn't started. And so I was like, okay, what's going on? All right. So I went and talked to a lady, and she told me, one of the ladies at the desk, and she told me that it wasn't going to start until 12. And I was like, oh, well, okay. So I'll just come back to 12. So I went and did whatever with my cousin, and then I came back. He left me, by the way. He went back to the hotel and went back to sleep. So I went by myself. And when I went, I met so many interesting people. If you're watching this, hi guys. I met so many interesting people, and we talked. And we were just waiting to start. It didn't start until 2, and now remembering 2 was my appointment time. And so it didn't start until 2. We were just sitting there waiting. At 12 o'clock we were supposed to start SM, right? Okay, so after we were sitting there waiting, the people came out and started setting up the table at 1, and then they sat down, started calling people to come and get their auditions at 2. Now with us, they had a laptop there, and for us to be able to go audition, we had to bring, we didn't know that we had to have our emails with our confirmation number and our time, to be able to go audition. The thing was with ours was that you would tell them your name, and when they pulled up your name, then you could go. But if they didn't pull up your name, that's when you had to have evidence that you were you signed up and that you were meant to be at this audition. So I was like, oh, okay. well, dang, what if my name doesn't show up? And so I was like, thank you, God, for the internet. Thank you. Thank God I saved that email. So, quick tips for you guys. Make sure you bring like your confirmation and everything when you go to audition, because you don't know what could happen. Yeah. And so after I went in, I got my name was already on the roster. So after that, they just sent me to this, they had people that would direct you, like staff, that after you got your name, they would, after they checked your name, they would take you, they took us, they would direct us to this elevator, and our auditions were on like the top floor. They were on 24th floor, 24th floor, and they would direct us to this elevator that would take us up. Kind of creepy, but you know. And so they would take us to this elevator, and like groups would go up in the elevator at a time. And when we got up there were people to direct us to like the starting line. Okay, so for us, it was like in this kind of waiting room. We were in a waiting room to go into a waiting room. And so for us, we had to line up at the desk, and in front of the desk, in the waiting room. It's like the desk was right here and like the line was right here. So we sat in, so we waited in that line. And while you was waiting in that line, when you wait in the line and when you're like waiting to get your name, start preparing, like stretch, warm up your voice, do whatever. Because for us, as soon as we got in there, we went exactly into the waiting room for auditions. And when you're in there, you can't really do much of anything except, watch videos. So we were in the line, and we were just waiting for people to like get enough people to go in. And so they have like posters, like already like posters saying SM 2000. They had like 2013 SM audition posters everywhere, in front of you, behind you, just everywhere. Oh, and also be prepared, because there will be people recording you even when you're not auditioning. Yes. So dress to impress and be on like your best behavior or show your personality. But because there will be people recording you throughout the whole audition. Because there was this one lady, this Asian lady, I don't know, I guess she was part of the staff, because she kept coming around and recording us. Like she went down the line and just recorded like all of us the whole entire time we were in the line. And I was like, oh, okay, camera time. So make sure that, be appropriate, because as soon as you walk into that waiting room, to go into the waiting room, as soon as you start, the point you start your auditions, your audition has already started. So, because they're just going to be looking at every little single thing you do. So make sure that you are, you got it together. Okay, be appropriate, be on your best behavior. And so we were in the line, and then this guy would tell us, oh, also, tip, you can't record or take photography or photos in the waiting room. I had to find out the hard way. So, yeah, just a tip for you guys. So the guy took us into a room. There were these two doors. He took us down into a room. There were these two doors, these two wooden doors, and it had a waiting room on each of the door. And I was like, oh, so this is the waiting room. And so they took us into there. It took us into this room where it was like college or stadium type waiting room. Like those rows of seats that just go up until you're sitting in a stadium, or like a waiting room for business appointments and whatnot, like business meetings. Or if you go to a college, you know what I'm talking about, where they have this elevation of just chairs and tables. And so they took us there, and that was the waiting room. And when we got in there, it was like SM explosion, okay? They had gigantic pink SM posters that said SM 2013 auditions everywhere around that room. And they had videos playing you know, on and off. Just had a constant loop of just videos. We got to see. I wasn't in the waiting room long enough to see the videos on loop. I was hoping to experience that, but because we were so early, you know, we had an audition first. But I'll get to that later. So yeah, that was basically the room, and yeah, it was just nothing but SM explosion everywhere. SM explosion. So they sat us down in the room. They would go like in like a row, like as soon they would go, like, you know how when you're in line they tell you to go all the way down to like the last seat and just fill it up accordingly. That's what you had to do with like each row you went up. And so that's what we did. And then while we were sitting in there in the waiting room, they gave us, somebody came in and gave us like a little mini speech about things to do and things not to do, you know, to help us in our audition go better. So be expecting a cute guy to come in with good English, tell you what to do and what not to do for your auditions to do the best that you can do. Yeah. So after that, they gave us this application. Yeah, they gave us another application, like this slip of paper that just had like your audition, like, you know what you filled out to get the appointment for your auditions, you had to fill it out again. So yeah, they gave you like another application. You had to fill out your name, your birth, where you're from, your hobbies, blah 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 blah, all that good stuff. And so you fill that out, and the guy will come back and tell you how to fill it out. And so after you fill that out, then it's just, you know, just wait. They take it up, and then after they take it up, they give you your number. My number was D29. I was D29. I was second to last to go in the group. In our group of 30, I was second to last. And so, yeah, that's how that went. So I was D29. A guy sitting beside me, Peebo. Hey, Peebo. That sitting beside me was D30. And it just went on like that. It just went on like that. They took you in groups of 30, so I found that out later on in life. And so after they gave you your number, you just kind of sat there. You will stick it right here on your left side, on the top left side, so people could, like, so when they recorded you, they could see your audition number easily. And so they did that, and we were just waiting. We were talking, conversating while you were there, just talking, conversating with people, because they are just as nervous as you are, if not more. Trust me, if not more. And so we were just sitting there, we were waiting, just watching, teasing. No, it was epic because we were watching MVs and people were just like dancing and stuff. We were having a good time up in there. We could have had just an SM party, just a SM party. We were having an SM party. That's when SM The Twerk 2013 was created, but that is a different topic for another story. So, after we just waited for not really a long time, for us, for DC, we didn't really wait that much of a long time. It was kind of like clockwork. It's amazing how fast the auditions went, according to how long it took me to get here and how long I had to wait just to get to this point, and the auditions went like that. So we were in a waiting room, and then for a while, then afterwards they started calling people for the auditions. They got a group of 30, as I said before, they got a group of 30, but they would separate you by 10. So it was like 3 groups, but you were an entire group, but they would audition you by 10. So yeah, and we walked in, they would put you in like a line of 3, and the first line would go in, second line would go in, the last line would go in, and you would sit, and they had like 2 rows of like chairs. Okay, so the way the audition room was set up. Okay, so this is the audition room. Your audition table would be right here where the judges would sit, and the camera would be on this side of the judge. And on this side, this is where we were sitting, right here. And then right here in the front of the judge would be like a big, gigantic SM audition poster that you see in like the previous SM auditions. Yeah, that poster, that big, gigantic SM poster. And like the floor, actually there wasn't a dance floor, it was just a carpet. And they just had like an X where they telling you how far you can come up. And so yeah, that's where the whole setup was. And so on this side they would have like 2 rows of chairs to sit 30 people. And yeah, we got auditioned by a lady. She was a pretty lady. Thought she was boa for a minute. I seriously thought she was boa. I thought I was like, oh snap, I got auditioned by boa. And then we found out she wasn't. And there will be a guy there if you get auditioned by this lady. There will be a guy there to translate for her because I don't think she can speak English. So he was translating what she was saying. And since we were the first group to go with her, she didn't really look. She had like this complete entire cold poker face on, like the whole entire time. I don't know what they do to train these people, these judges to do, but she had like this cold poker face on. But I was like, whatever. But yeah, it was very intimidating. But I was like, you know what, forget it. I paid too much money to come here. I'm gonna do this thing. And so she was sitting there, and then there was this other lady. She was recording with a camera. Oh, another tip, make sure you look at the camera and not the judge, because the judge can't record you with her eyes. But that would be kind of cool and creepy if she could, but the camera does. So make sure you look at the camera the entire time. And while we were sitting there, you had, 30 people were in the audition room with you. So while you're sitting there, everybody is like 20 other people are going to be staring at you. Well, not 20, 29 other people are going to be staring at you. Plus you got the judges, translator, camera woman. You got all of them are going to be like staring at you while you audition. So there is some pressure, but don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about it too much. And yeah, so they will call up the group of 10, and it will go from 1 to 10. In numerical order. In a number order. They would start from 1, 10, 10, 20, 11 to 20, 21, 30, all that. That's how they started. Okay, so that's, yeah. And once they started that, you can just go. Like when you start the auditions, just go. Don't wait for anybody to tell you to do anything. You just start. Like as soon as it gets to you, you just start. Don't wait for anything. But for us, she asked us what we were going to do. If you told her you were going to sing, you would just start singing, and she would just be writing. I don't even. Some people she would look up at, and some people she wouldn't look up at. But if you're really good, I don't know. But if you were dancing, she would let you wait till all the singers went, and then all the dancers that were going to dance, you come up in front in like a group, and you just start dancing. She'll play a random song, and you start dancing. The song she played for me in our group, I don't even know what it was. It was really some random-ish, because I had no idea. I had never heard that song before in my life. So I was like, oh, okay. And the beats of progression were very strange, because the way the song would develop, I can't even remember. It was very weird. It was a very weird song. I was like, okay, what do I do with this? But it had like, it was a pop song, but it's just weird the way it sounds. But it was something you could dance to, so I was like, oh, okay, what do I do? But yeah, and I just did whatever, and after everyone was finished with their dancing, they would just escort you out, and you would get all your belongings and you could just leave. And that was your audition. Oh, and also another tip in this video: if you have like purses and things with you, for us, they told us to put them on the side, and make sure you get all your purses and things with you, because if you leave it in the waiting room, they won't let you back in the waiting room. They will not let you back in that waiting room. So if you have things, make sure you carry it with you at all times. And all times, make sure you have it with you, so that you don't like have to be stressing about how you're gonna get your things back. So yeah. And that was basically it. That was our audition. But in our audition, we had some talented people in our audition. We had in our group of 30. We were the first group of 30. We had some talented people. We had a model. This girl was really pretty. I don't know what her name was, but she was a model. She was very pretty, tall. She had really long hair. She looked like she knew what she was doing. And we had this one girl who got held back. Okay, this is how it was. She was in I think the second group to go, and she sung, and then they told her to sing another song in a higher pitch, and I was like, oh snaps. And then she called her out of the group and held her back, and I was like, damn. We don't know. I probably met the next K-pop star for SM, next Girls' Generation member. I don't know. Well, not Girls' Generation member, but you know what I mean. But she could sing. She could really sing. She had a really great voice. Kind of reminded me of Ailey, but she could sing. She could really, really sing. And there was this other girl. She was kind of short, kind of thicker than the other girl. She could sing too, but she didn't get held back. But this girl could sing, and she didn't get held back. A lot of people that were good singers didn't get held back, but it's SM. You don't know what to expect. Also, in our group, there was this guy. I got him on the recorded thing. I remember his face, and I wanted to talk to him, so we can be friends. But I don't know, he seemed kind of shy, and he didn't really talk to anybody, and he seemed kind of in the zone, so I didn't want to disturb his zen. But this guy could dance. When I say dance, he can tame men and break it down. I mean, this guy, he was legit. Okay, he was legit. When I say he was doing some Taeyang shit. I was he was crumping. Well, I don't know crump, but he was popping, locking, and making it drop. Okay, yes, he was doing all of that. But he had it. Okay, he had it. Guy, if you are watching this, please contact me because I want to know who you are. Because you are awesome. Oh my gosh, he was awesome. Yeah, he was dancing, but he did not get held back. But it's not over, because everybody still has to wait for their everyone still has to wait for. Wow, this video is very long. Everyone still has to wait for their audition feedback, the results that come in May. I hope they get good results. I hope everyone gets good results. But I'm gonna have to have a video about that too. But yeah, that was pretty much my experience at SM.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope I didn't confuse you in any way whatsoever possible. I hope that I shed some light or gave you somewhat of an idea what could happen. But yeah, this was my part 1. come back later for part 2. Part 2 will be tips for you guys that there will be tips for you guys that I have learned from my audition experience. So I will see you guys later. Bye.